So we're back, and we're going to talk about the playoff picture
Yeah.
as it stands.
Well, before we talk about the playoff picture, someone recently floated the idea of maybe instead of it being a full-on, Eastern Western Conference playoffs, then what about the idea of doing a seeding of 1 to 16 for the playoffs?
I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, but
That's my opinion.
How different of the how different and how much better would those playoffs be if that were actually the case?
I think it'd be more fair, in my opinion, because you look at the teams in the West, a lot of them are better than the other 6 teams in the East.
Yeah.
Where would the Raptors be in the Western Conference? It'd probably be where the
But
Phoenix Suns are, right?
Let's say the way the means of making the playoffs are the same, like the records are the same. Like the Suns would still be out of the playoffs, right? But it would still be within the top 8 from each of the conferences. That's why the conferences would matter, just for the seeding purposes.
Oh, then I don't. Then no, I wouldn't agree
No?
with that. I would just go seeding, just straight seeding.
Regardless, so the Suns make the whichever are the best teams in the league. Make
go
the
by your
playoffs.
record. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that would change things at all? Do you feel like the?
Well, it would change like logistics, like travel and all that type of stuff.
Well, I mean more
But,
so. Do you feel like the end result of the playoffs would be that drastically different?
Drastically, in terms of who's the champion, no.
No.
But different in terms of level of competition, what's fair, yes.
Okay.
Like, to me, that either the Mavs, right? Well, no, Mavs and Suns are in it now. Who's still in the
I think the Suns might be on the outside looking.
I checked
feel like
yesterday.
it's
The Suns are 8th right now.
Okay.
Grizzlies.
Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If the Knicks could even, like the Hawks or the Knicks make it, there's no question that the Grizzlies should be in it. So the Grizzlies are a better team than either of those, by far.
Yeah.
So it only makes the playoffs better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So based on that, I think it'd be better. But in terms of who's going to win a championship, no. I don't think it will be drastically different in that sense.
No. So you would think in that scenario, in a top 16 scenario, who?
I think it's still the top 5 teams that matter.
Yeah. So then there's still
Because there could be upsets in the first round, even second round, but once you get to the conference finals and finals, it's pretty much who deserves to win will win, more or less.
Fair enough.
Unless the refs have something to do with it. But that's a totally different topic.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on. Playoff picture. I will read out the matchups right now, okay?
Okay.
So starting in the East, number 1 seed, the Heat versus either the Hawks, who are the current 8th seed, or the Knicks. The Knicks, I think, are a game or 2 back.
Yeah.
They both have tough games, but the Knicks play, I think, the Raptors twice and the Nets twice. So they're more or less screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to assume that the Knicks are going to make it, but that series, not watching.
Let's face it.
We're not watching that series.
If the Knicks make it, if the Hawks make it,
It doesn't matter.
how long does that series go?
Right. 5-6 games, right? At most. Max.
I wouldn't even. You're willing to go as high as 6 games?
No.
No. I know you're not. I know
4
you're
or
not.
5. 4 or 5.
You're saying 4 or 5.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm not
That's
watching.
clear.
My point is, I'm not watching that series.
No.
Okay.
That's
So
not interest. Other than seeing LeBron James dominate, which it's
Well,
always nice.
yeah. Second seed Pacers versus the 7th seed Bobcats.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No. To me, it's not. I don't.
No, not to watch, but
Yeah.
interesting as in, the
I
Bobcats
think it's good.
not a joke. Because
Uh,
the Pacers are how poorly they've been playing.
You're right. They're not a joke, but at the same time, I don't feel like the Bobcats have done. They did a good job of making the playoffs in this year. Like I don't want to. It's hard on one hand to say how shitty the East is, and on the other hand, give praise to the Bobcats for actually making the playoffs. But at the same time,
They've had good wins though.
They've had good wins. They've looked good at points.
They
this
beat
year.
us a couple times.
They beat us a couple times in matchups where we looked horrible.
Yep.
But that being said, I don't think they got anything for the Pacers.
Al Jefferson? No.
I do not believe in. I mean, I like Al Jefferson.
Killing it this year.
I like Al Jefferson.
Killing
I
it
feel
this year.
like that would be the type of matchup where David West and or Hibbert, their jobs would be very clear. I feel like matchup wise, that the Pacers are not. They're a better version. I see similarities between them and the Bobcats, but everywhere the Pacers are way, way better.
But here's the thing. This is what I'll say. If the Pacers can lose by this much to the Hawks,
right,
the Bobcats are way better than the Hawks. Like, I've seen some Bobcat games. CTR is killing it. Chris Douglas Roberts. Al Jefferson's killing it. Kemba's been really good. Remote Sessions is still on that team, right?
Yeah,
he's still been pretty good. Like, the team looks a lot better. Steve Clifford has done a great job there, and I think they have that defensive identity. You know, MKG is taking somewhat of a step back, but he's more of a defender for them, and he's not even playing that many minutes for them because of Chris Douglas Roberts and Gerald Henderson and some of these other wing guys. I forget there's another guy on that team, another wing. Who's a backup shooting guard?
Oh.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
But the point is they can hit some threes.
Yeah.
Zeller doesn't look bad. Cody Zeller. Yeah, and I think, you know, you got Kemba and especially Al Jefferson. I'm just saying, based on the way the Pacers are playing right now, I have very little confidence in them.
Right.
My only reason why I think they would win, if I think the Pacers would beat the Raptors, I'm definitely going to think they're going to beat the Bobcats. But it might go 6 games. It's not going to be a sweep. You know, like, do you think it'll be a sweep?
I don't know if it's gonna be a sweep. I never like choosing a sweep. It's never to me.
Or 4-1.
It's always shocking. It'll be 4-1 probably. I don't think that.
Really? Because the Pacers, look, how can you lose 7 out of the last 10 games or whatever it is, or 8 of the last 12?
Right.
Going into the playoffs.
I've gotta believe that the playoffs are going to be the difference maker or the wake up call or whatever. Or I'd like to think that is going to be the case, right? Because I'm not buying into the idea that the Bobcats are somehow going to be competition for this team that was supposed to be, you know, so good and only recently has started to look really shitty.
Okay. All right. So no upset there.
No upset there. Definitely.
Raptors 3rd seed, Wizards 6th seed.
Yeah.
Potential upset here.
Are we in the third right now? Is that
Right now, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right now. We have the same record as the Bulls, but I think the difference is we're the conference champion.
We're the division
Whereas
champion.
the Bulls are in the same conference as the Pacers.
Division. Yeah.
Sorry, not conference, division.
Yeah.
Right. So, assuming it's Raptors Wizards, who are you taking?
To me, this is the matchup. Other than maybe the Bobcats would be a better match. No, I'm really cool with this matchup. I feel like this is the best matchup for the Raptors.
It is. It almost is. Yeah.
Washington is a team that, I could actually see Washington coming out and just playing their asses off against the Raptors and John Wall playing out of his mind.
I could see them beating us.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
I think the Raptors. I think Lowry can shut down John Wall. I don't know that we've seen it very well so far this season, shut down John Wall. But I believe he can. I don't believe that John Wall has the type of basketball IQ able enough to outplay Kyle Lowry over the course of a series. So I would say I like John Wall, but I don't know that he's shown that he can do that. I believe that Kyle Lowry has the defensive chops and the know-how in order to shut down John Wall in a 7-game series.
I think that Kyle Lowry can't contain him. He's not fast enough.
Okay.
But I do think he can have some veteran moves on him. Take maybe a charge here and there, maybe strip him. And John Wall's going to have to guard him on the other end.
Yeah.
So he can go at John Wall. I don't think he can stop John Wall. DeRozan, Beal, I'll give the edge to DeRozan, although I like Beal's game better.
Too young still, though. I'd still say.
But DeRozan is young, too. He hasn't played a single playoff game.
Yeah,
Things change in the playoffs.
You're right.
It's the Raptors. How many times did we look like pretty good in the regular season, and the playoffs start? Oh, man.
Yeah.
We're down 20 points in the first quarter. You know? I'm just scared of that as a Raptors fan. I think Gortat can beat Valanciunas.
He can, but is he still hurt? Is he still injured? I think he might still be. I think he might be a little bit injured. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
But
I saw him huddling the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I know, that was great. That was great.
I think
he can. But also, I've seen Valanciunas outplay Gortat at points this year.
Yeah,
too,
sometimes.
when they've played.
But just things change in the playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I like Trevor Ariza a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's a little overpaid, right? But
he is overplayed.
But I like him.
But he's a good defensive player who is, whenever he tries too hard offensively, you really see the flaws.
But he can really shoot threes.
He can shoot threes.
He shoots like 40%.
I
Pretty
feel
good.
like Trevor Ariza is the exact kind of player that Terrence Ross can shut down. You know?
Okay, yeah, I agree there.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like he can make Terrence Ross look good. I feel.
Okay. So I would. I don't know. I think just because I've seen them fail too many times, I put money on the Wizards.
Wow.
Just to,
Okay.
just
Fair
so
enough.
like, because I feel like whenever I cheer for the Raptors, they end up disappointing me. So I'd rather cheer for the other team and be wrong and have
Right.
the Raptors be successful than to be a homer and be unsuccessful.
Okay, so you would pick the Wizards in this series?
Well, with my head, I'm picking the Raptors.
Okay.
Because I think we're a better team. You know, I think that we're a third seed. We have the same record as the Bulls.
So your heart, you're picking against the team that you like. In your heart, you're picking the Wizards
Just because I'm
because you don't want to
superstitious.
believe in the Raptors.
No, I want to. It's just whenever I do, they always disappoint me. They've never once come through for me when I've believed in them.
Okay.
Not once in
All right.
15 years.
Yeah.
Not once. Not a single time. Ever. I just want to reiterate that.
Ever. Underlined.
When I thought Vince Carter was going to hit that shot, he did not. When I thought the next year we'd be back, we did not come back.
Yeah.
When
Okay,
the Bosch
ever.
went to the playoffs with us, and we had faced the Nets, I want to believe there's a 3-6 seed. Remember that?
Yeah.
We were the third seed.
Yeah.
And the Nets were the 6th seed. I want to believe we were going to kick their ass.
They
we did
they
not.
were even a good matchup for us. We were
They-
supposed to win that.
And we did not.
No.
When we played the Magic, we had the point guard advantage. We lost that point guard advantage because Jameer Nelson killed us.
Yeah.
So every time I believe when we make the playoffs, it doesn't happen for me.
Right.
So I'd rather go against the team and have them be successful and be wrong.
Fair
than
fair
the other
enough.
way around.
So you're going with illogical voodoo in 6 games.
Look, with my head, and we're just going to speak objectively here. I'm going to say the Raptors to take the Wizards. Okay. Could be 6 games, could be 7 games. I don't think it's going to be it could be 5 games. I mean, the Raptors, when they're rolling, it could be that. You know, when everyone's playing well. Lowry, DeRozan, Ross, let's say Salmons doesn't play like crap, and Patterson, Amir, they all play well. Jonas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we beat them.
I don't know about 5 games though. I'd say 6.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 games is
Or maybe
is
7.
the
Or
barometer.
7, yeah.
It could be. You know what? I don't think it'll be 7 either.
No? Okay.
No, I think the Raptors got this. I think that it's been their destiny this season to win one playoff series at least. So
All right,
that's
so
what I-
moving on. Probably the best matchup in the East. Number 4 Bulls versus the number 5 Nets.
Yeah, crazy matchup.
Rematch of last year.
Yeah,
Except the Bulls have home court advantage this year.
and
I'm taking the Bulls.
Yeah,
And the Nets look really good.
yeah,
And they're getting Kirilenko back. They're getting Garnett back, which are obviously huge names. Big role players, and that's what they are mostly at this point. Even though Garnett's going to start, I'm assuming.
yeah.
Still
think
a
so.
role player. I think he plays like 3-4 minutes in the first half and he sits. And I'm picking the Bulls. That defense, that they're tough. They're like the toughest team, outside. I don't know. Can you say they're tougher than the Heat? Maybe,
Maybe.
but they're in the top 2, right? To me, they're tougher than the Pacers.
Yeah,
And Noah's playing out of his mind. DJ Augustin's playing out of his mind. Jimmy Butler, he's always solid.
Taj Gibson.
Taj, Dunleavy, Kirk, Heinrich. Even Boozer has his moments. He's just overpaid, but I think he's a solid player.
Okay.
Who's their is Nazim Mohammed their backup center? Who's their backup center?
He's still on their team, Nazim Mohammed. I just wonder how many minutes he gets.
I think they play like the 3 big man rotation.
Yeah.
Like the Boozer Taj. Okay, so I like their team. I like how I love Thibodeau. I love Tibbs, and I'm taking the Bulls just because they're tougher. I think they're tougher.
Okay.
However, the Nets should win. That's
Yeah.
my opinion. The Nets should win because Darren Williams. I don't think there's anybody more talented than him, potential-wise, but it's not the same. Joe Johnson, you could even say that should be. I don't know if you could say he should be better than Noah, but like not that much worse. A big guy like that who's a shooting guard, small forward. He's hit game winners. He can handle the ball, cross anybody up. Like he should theoretically be a really good player, and he's a
Yep.
good player. It's just getting overpaid. Darren Williams overpaid. Paul Pierce can hit big shots. He's old veteran. Garnett can hit big shots, and he can play, good defense. And you need that veteran stuff, right? Who's their starting center? It's not Blotch, right? It's Plumlee, right?
Yeah.
So Plumlee, energy, Blotch, perfect off the bench. Kirilenko coming back, playing the 3-4. Sean Livingston, Alan Anderson, Marcus Thornton. That's a lot of offensive power.
Yeah.
And they play defense too. I just think that if Darren Williams has one of those series, Joe Johnson has one of those series, plus all the other guys, they're built for the playoffs. I think you and I agree there. They're built for the playoffs. I
actually think that this is the worst possible matchup for the Bulls. For the Bulls. That the Bulls can beat pretty much even to a certain.
I think they beat the Pacers. I think they would beat the Pacers.
I think that matchups make a lot of that. The matchups make the series a lot of the time, and I think that the Nets are not a good matchup for the Bulls. That the Nets can beat the Bulls.
Wow, I was going to disagree. I was going to say the Bulls are not good for the Nets.
I actually think so. I think they are. I think that they can when I look at a team like the Pacers, I could see the Bulls, shutting down the Pacers because of the fact that they're a young team. If things aren't going right offensively for them, then it would be problematic for them. That Noah is definitely capable of shutting down Hibbert. He's also capable of being a playmaker, making a game very difficult for guys like West. When forced to cover him, I feel like the defense would really be difficult. And if Paul George is off his game, then boom, that's all that they would need. So I feel like the Pacers and the Bulls, that's even a better matchup. But I think that the Nets almost have too much firepower. I feel like they're this is the time, like you said. The Nets are built for the playoffs. This is the time for them to really sort of shine.
Do you put any stock in what happened last year, where the Nets were the favorite seed, favorite to win, because they were higher seed, and they lost in 7 games to the Bulls?
Maybe. I mean, they're totally different teams this year.
But do you think mentally they're totally different?
Mentally,
because their core it hasn't really changed as much, right?
Yeah.
And they don't even have Brook Lopez this year.
Yeah.
I will say that I like the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, giving them more heart and toughness. I like that because they've been to 2 finals, won a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett have gone in the playoffs year after year after year in their primes, right? Kirilenko has done so much; he's gone to the playoffs pretty much year after year after year.
Yeah.
I just hesitate because I don't know what I'm going to get from Darren Williams. I don't know what I'm going to get for Joe Johnson. Actually, I do know what I'm going to get for Joe Johnson. I don't know about Darren Williams.
No, I think
he has to be the guy.
How much do these guys still have? How much is left from them? What can they actually?
From who? The older guys or from Darren Williams?
From any. I mean, Darren Williams. I mean, he's not. I wouldn't say he's an older guy, but at this point, he's definitely a veteran. You don't know what to expect from any of these guys. These guys come out and they play as good as they're capable of playing. They could be one of the best.
Yeah.
The thing is, you don't know how hurt Kevin Garnett is going to be, or how well he's going to play,
or maybe he's just resting.
Yeah. You don't know if Paul Pierce is going to be the Paul Pierce of old, or the Paul Pierce that we've seen in the playoffs before.
Okay. No, I'm not saying that, but do I trust him over Terrence Ross for a playoff series? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, of course.
That matters a lot, and I like Terrence Ross. So I think that the only difference is the Bulls have also just as much playoff experience, right? They've gone to the playoffs 3-4 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
That matters. They have a standard of excellence for a
but
while.
They haven't shown that they have, real difference makers on their team. That is
Noah has shown that this year.
Noah, of course. Noah's had
year.
A great year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's over the course of the new year, he's maybe 5th in assists.
He's probably the best center in the league, right?
Been
the best center in the league.
Yeah.
He's arguably defensive player of the year.
Based off of how he's playing, especially. But that's kind of why I feel like, maybe that's where things that he has such an advantage. Like if you're looking matchup wise, Noah is the guy with the advantage, player for player.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I feel like the Nets are gonna have an advantage. I feel like I would take the Nets players over the Bulls players in all those spots. That's not to say that the Nets are an automatically better team, but I'm saying that I think that the Nets have what it takes to the way that they're structured, the way that they're built,
Right.
is going to be difficult for the Bulls.
Okay, so let's go through the matchups, right? Top to bottom.
Okay.
Coach, who you take?
Coach, I take definitely the
Yeah.
Bulls.
So we know.
Definitely.
Okay, so point guard, who do you take?
Point guard, I take the Nets.
Right? But it's not as much as you would think it would be,
It's
right?
pretty much.
Because he dropped 33 the other night.
I know.
He is capable of that.
He's capable. I just don't know if I'm drinking the Kool-Aid
Okay,
in the
fine.
playoffs.
Shooting guard.
Shooting guard, Nets.
Okay. Small forward.
My opinion, Nets.
Okay. Power forward.
Mm,
I'm going Bulls on this one.
I would probably go Bulls on this, but it's not such a huge
Right.
gap.
Because you don't know what you get from Garnett and Kirilenko.
You don't know what you're going to get from Garnett. You don't know what you're going to get from Kirilenko. Plumlee is good and young, but
Well, he's a
really
center to me.
I feel like they make that
Okay.
interchangeable because of KG, but
Okay. Center.
Yeah.
Noah.
yeah,
So Bulls.
definitely.
So mostly the matchups top to bottom favor the Nets.
Yeah,
Okay, but let's go this. Like, who's got the better defensive team?
definitely the
The
Bulls without
Who's
question.
got the better rebounding team?
Bulls.
I
for
would say
sure.
the Bulls.
Yeah.
So to me, defense, rebounding, coaching,
So it's offense versus defense.
yeah. And the only thing I would worry about is the Bulls. They struggle to score.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Pacers do. Except, at least the Bulls have a guy who is a point guard, a legit point guard. Like, he's not a great point guard, but DJ Owens is a legit point guard. I don't look at him and think, oh, he's a shooting guard. Like, I look at George Hill and think he's probably a tweener shooting guard. Right?
Yeah.
Because if he was a point guard, he has every opportunity on the Pacers to be that point guard.
I
And
think
he
that
was
might be giving them too much credit, though. I don't know that I'm willing to say that DJ Augustine that I'm convinced that he's such a difference maker.
I think
You know?
in that system he is.
He might be, and he's
In that
proven,
system
he's
he
definitely
is.
proven
Because
so far.
they do a lot of like Spursy type plays on the Bulls with Noah being able to make so many plays.
Yeah,
So DJ Austin doesn't have to be your primary like Chris Paul pick and roll type of guy.
right.
He can just run off a bunch of screens, Tony Parker style, and because he's got speed and quickness. That's what he really has. DJ, remember him playing the Raptors? He killed us. Killed us. Just saying he can't.
But do you remember him on the Raptors?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying.
But he's
I'm
in the
not-
right place now. My point is he's in the right place
Yeah,
now. He's in the right place now.
100%. But my point is, we don't really know. Like, the thing is that the guards have such an advantage in that series over like, whereas the forwards there's a clear advantage. But I
Right.
don't know if it's as.
But
as
to
clear.
me, it's almost neutralized because the coaching is such a huge advantage towards the Bulls.
Okay.
And that's just all about little adjustments towards the game.
Yeah.
And it's not like one team has no experience, the other team has a ton of experience. They both have equal. Well, I'd say the Nets have more experience, but on different teams.
I think the Nets definitely have more experience, whether
But
or
it's on
not they have the
different
same
teams.
sort of chemistry.
Exactly.
That I don't know.
So it's a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
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 So you're going Nets?
So I would go Nets. I think I would go Nets in 7 games.
7 games? I'm going Bulls in 7 games.
Yeah.
Okay. So we disagree, but
And,
we're close.
that's not to say that I still think the Bulls. I think if you ask me if the Bulls were in a series with the Pacers, that the Bulls would win that series in 7 games.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is weird because I think now if the Pacers play the Nets, the Pacers are going to beat the Nets.
Oh, really?
I think the Pacers beat the Nets.
I think the Nets beat the Pacers.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Because the Pacers
all
are just
right.
playing like garbage right
All
now.
right.
I think it's all about momentum.
Fair play.
To expect it to just switch on, I just think the Hawks loss is just the final straw.
Right.
Like, I don't think there's no excuse for that. You know what I mean?
It could be, but I don't know.
They lost to the
It'll be-
Raptors without Lowry.
Yeah.
And Amir Johnson.
Yeah. There's no real cause.
I mean, there's no at least it was closer for them, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't. That's just my opinion. Anyways, let's move to the West. Okay.
Okay.
Spurs #1 seed versus either the Suns or the Grizzlies.
Yeah, no, definitely Spurs.
Spurs.
100%.
But I'd watch. I think I'd watch the Spurs.
I mean, I would I would watch. Would you watch either the Grizzlies or the Suns? Which
I
one
love
would
watching.
you-
I love watching the Grizzlies, and I like what I see from the Suns. But I don't think the Suns' like style of play really translates into playoff success.
Yeah. But you said that you would not watch the Heat versus Bobcats here. The Heat versus the
Hawks or Knicks.
Would you watch the Spurs versus Suns series?
Not that much, but I watch it over the Heat versus whoever they play.
Okay, but would you watch the Grizzlies versus Spurs series?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I would because I love Marc Gasol.
Yeah, I would. I would.
I personally
would
would.
actually sooner watch the Suns versus the Spurs.
I understand. I
But
get that. I get that.
I feel like they're a younger team. That being said, I feel like the Spurs win 4 games.
Okay.
Like they sweep. I think.
Okay, fine. We're pretty much.
But the Suns are an exciting team.
Yeah.
I would be. I'm curious to see how Dragic and the Twins will do in the playoffs. So I would watch.
Not
that
even
series.
just Gerald Green's killing it.
Yeah,
In the Plumlee.
yeah. But Gerald Green, I never believe in Gerald Green consistency.
No, but
know?
as a heat check guy, as like a Jamal Crawford,
Okay,
Jordan Crawford, that type
he's
of guy.
got that upside. I'll give him that.
Killed the Raptors. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Killed, like destroyed us. Anyways, so okay, we both agree. Spurs, Thunder, Mavs.
Yeah.
Thunder. Number
Thunder.
2 seed, Mavs number 7. They're like 2 games ahead of the Suns.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much going to be 7th. That's interesting. Rematch of KD and Dirk.
Yeah.
They've had some good games. I'm taking Thunder.
I would take the Thunder as well.
In like 6 games, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say like 6 games.
6 games. Well, what's the difference maker in that series? Where do you feel like where does that go for the Thunder's favor? What's the X factor there?
Outside of the obvious Durant, I'd say Russell Westbrook. He's
Okay.
the X factor. I think he's the one guy that they like. Obviously, no one can really defend Durant, but you can really kind of game plan. Okay, he's going to get his 30 points,
Yeah.
30 or maybe even 40. How do we stop everybody else, right? So the X factor is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
to
I
me.
feel like the X factor might even be Dallas's defense. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
player for player, they don't match up so horribly with the.
But they're not a good
with the
defensive
Thunder.
team. They're not a
They're
good.
not a
defensive
good defensive team.
No.
They have to rely on guys like Dirk, who's not known for his D, and Ellis,
Jose
who's not
or
known for
Ellis,
his D, or
Devin
Caldwell.
Harris even comes off the bench.
Yeah, I mean,
Sean Marion has slipped a lot. Vince
Yeah.
has never been a great defensive player. Yeah,
so they've got a lot of pieces. Actually, you know what? Dallas is the type of team that if they were in the Eastern Conference, I bet they would do really well.
I think
they
they
would
would
do-
be the 3rd seed.
Yeah, they would do
right? So
really well for themselves in the East. But
the
yeah,
only reason I think the Mavs win 2 games is Dirk.
yeah,
straight up.
I've actually.
That's the only reason why I think they'll win 2
I'll
games.
concede the same point. Is that
I like
sometimes-
Jose on that team though. By the way, I like Jose on that team.
I mean, he's played well on that team.
Yeah.
I don't know that he is the answer for
No,
them.
no, not the answer. I'm just saying I like that he's on that team.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
played
how
well.
he's
Him and Dirk have played well.
Yeah. Okay, so what? 6 games?
6 games.
It could be 5 games too, but
I'm gonna say I feel 6.
okay.
6
All right.
is what I go for that.
We agree there. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this. I think the playoffs. To me, number 3 seed is the Clippers. Number 6 is the Warriors.
Best series of the playoffs that I will watch every game at 10 o'clock at night in this series.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea who wins that series. I couldn't tell you.
I actually do.
Who wins that series? You feel confident?
I think it's unquestionably the Clippers.
The Clippers.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
I think that Blake has gone to the next level. CP, to me, has been the 3rd best player in the league for a while.
Yeah.
Even though I know there's an argument, he never made the finals and blah, blah, blah. But to me, like, after the first 2 best players, like LeBron, Durant, it's, like, hard to differentiate Curry from Harden and Harden from Blake Griffin and all those. So to me, like, Chris Paul's their 3rd best player. So you got that guy. And he's taking more or less a backseat somewhat to Blake, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, if Blake is being double-teamed a lot, Chris Paul can just certainly take over. We've seen a time that, like, whether it's threes, getting to the lane, making a pass, drawing fouls, we know what Chris Paul can do.
Right.
Like, the best point guard in the league still. To me, he's a superstar. And I think the Clippers, with Doc Rivers, it's just they're in much better hands.
Right.
Like DeAndre Jordan is like one of the top defensive players in the league this year.
Yeah, I've always been a big DeAndre Jordan fan.
I haven't been, and
I
I
know.
can admit, like he's been really good. He's the leading rebounder or something.
Yeah.
One of the leading shot blockers, making more of his free throws, and he's more engaged mentally. To me, he's more focused. He's not, I mean, he can still do the dunking, obviously, but
Of course.
he's doing all the other little things.
Still can't shoot free throws though.
But it's not 30% or whatever it was.
It's still real bad.
It's terrible.
Really
It's
bad.
50%.
Yeah.
But I'll take 50 over 30 something percent, right?
Okay.
Like I said, Blake, Chris Paul, their core. I like that JJ Redick is back. I think that really helps them spacing out. Because then, Jamal Crawford come off the bench, which is what he's perfect for.
Perfect.
And especially in a series against the Warriors, like Jamal Crawford, like that's his game right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, he must be like salivating. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't wait to play against these guys.
Yeah.
I think Blake thinking the same thing. Like all those guys on the Clippers are like, we like upbeat. I think where they struggle is half court, but they've shown that they can do it now, which is the difference maker. And I think Glenn Davis is a good addition. I think Danny Granger is an underrated addition to that team. Just more veteran stuff.
Yeah.
Glenn Davis has gone deep in the playoffs. I think he won, right? He won the championship with the Celtics.
Yeah, he did.
With Doc Rivers.
Mhm.
So there's that connection. Dan Granger has been with
Well,
the Pacers.
I think what you're saying is the biggest reason why the Clippers really have the edge in this series is that they just have more depth, right?
yeah,
Is that the
and a better
War-
core. And a better core to me.
war you can even make there's even some similarities between the teams, like you could say. The Warriors are still such a young team. That's why I feel like, well, ultimately I did say it was the most exciting series. At the same time, I do think the result is going to be the Clippers winning the series. It might not even be 7, it might be in 6 games, but I think in terms of excitement wise, these games are going to go to overtime, that there is going to be a lot of points scored in these series, that Golden State is a team, because of Thompson and Curry, they're a team that are able to just go on these crazy offensive swings. And
Right.
I feel like that they're going to do that against the Clippers, but not be able to do it over a sustained amount of time where they're able to win. It's just the Clippers have so much more, they've got so many more well-known, so many more high IQ style players. The only thing they don't really have is the one kind of go-to, this is our scoring option, this guy's going to put in all the points. But that's okay because they don't need that, because they've got someone like Paul who can distribute and find the open man and can figure out whether it makes sense to kick it to JJ outside or to drive or to give it to Blake inside. And Blake Griffin has gotten that much better at offense that it's like, well, we no longer have to look at him as another, DeAndre Jordan who's just going to go in and go for the dunk. He started to get a little bit better than that too. And I don't
Right.
feel like Bogut and Lee are the guys to kind of to shut down DeAndre Jordan.
Jermaine O'Neal? No?
No.
I was totally kidding about that.
I mean, depth-wise, that's a guy you want on the team. It's just this is like a matchups. Styles make the matchups, right? Like
Yeah.
this is not a good matchup for the Warriors. That the Clippers are like them, but the Clippers are better than them.
So, arguments for the Warriors. Steph Curry can be unstoppable.
Yeah,
Klay Thompson could be not unstoppable, but could be on fire.
their 1-2 offensive punch is better than what the Clippers can offer as a 1-2 offensive
Oh,
punch.
really?
In my opinion.
Okay.
Now, that's not going to be in my opinion, that's not going to be the difference maker in the series.
Mhm.
But it's going to be a difference maker in the games that I think that the Warriors will end up winning. Right.
So, Iguodala, kind of underrated what he does for that
for
team.
sure.
Harrison Barnes coming off the bench. Draymond Green coming off the bench.
These are all really good young guys. I just
Maurice
don't-
Spates coming off
Yeah.
the bench. Jermaine O'Neal for a limited bit off the bench. Now Steve Blake, Jordan Crawford. Is Marshall Brooks on that team? No, he's on the Lakers now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, they're kind of similar players, Brooks and Crawford.
Yeah, for sure.
So they got like some gunners,
Mhm.
right? Like Jordan Crawford could light it up for a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Maurice Spates can do what he needs to do. Jermaine O'Neal can be
That's
defensively.
why I'm saying I feel like they're one team that once they're playing lights out offense,
Right.
they're going to put up a shitload of points.
Yeah.
They're going to put up a shitload of points, and their offense is better than the like. It's not as well rounded as the Clippers. That's the thing. But in terms of being able to go on those crazy streaks, where it's like, oh fuck, these guys are not missing shots, and these guys are distributing well.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all Steph Curry to me.
Oh,
because
he's the linchpin.
Because he's the guy who can create everything for everybody else.
Yeah. Of course.
That's
look, Monta Ellis was there for so long. He was not a difference making.
Oh yeah. They made a good move by trading him away.
Yeah.
And they got Bogut, who they got a legit center.
Yeah.
So, you want to go through top to bottom, like coaching? Who you give the edge to?
Coaching, I give the edge to obviously
Clippers.
The Clippers got the edge there.
Okay, I agree. Point guard, who you give the edge to?
Point guard.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna go Chris Paul.
I'm gonna go Chris Paul as well,
but not by that much. But like, I think he's the best point guard in the league, and both point guards, so he must have the event.
Yeah, I'll go by Chris Paul.
Okay. Shooting guard. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go Warriors, just because of Clay. But Jamal Crawford can really turn it up, man.
Yeah.
And JJ Redick is solid.
Yeah.
I mean. But the Warriors also have Jordan Crawford. Who can do something.
I would probably go Warriors. You can even say Wash. It's real close.
I'm gonna say Wash.
Yeah. I would probably say Wash too.
Because starting, obviously, Clay's better than JJ, but then to me, Jamal's definitely better than Jordan Crawford.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. You know what? I'd go as far as to say the Warriors are probably. I would probably take the Warriors.
Okay, I'll agree with you.
It's not a difference maker.
Right.
No, it's X's and no. Like it's the same idea.
Okay. Small forward. I'm gonna go with the Warriors.
Yeah.
Unless Granger can really show me something.
I would go with the Warriors
Dudley,
too.
But Dudley's had a terrible year, so
I would go with the Warriors too. But that being said, that's like the position that the Clippers have kind of said, well, this guy can be more of like a defensive style. This is not going to be our number one, scorer.
All you need is a guy who can space the floor.
Right.
And Danny Granger can do that.
Yeah, he can do that for sure.
Okay, so power forward.
Yeah.
That's Clippers.
Yeah, 100%. The power forward and center to me are easily Clippers.
Yeah. Even though I like David Lee, but he's not.
I like them. I like them both too. They're both fine.
I just think that David Lee will struggle so much against Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
I
feel like Blake Griffin is gonna just out hustle, frustrate.
You know what we think of all white front courts?
Yeah. We're scarred because of Bargnani, but yes, this is a fact.
And it wasn't even an all white front court for us,
Yeah.
But like I look at Minnesota, like defensively, they just can't defend.
No.
So, okay, so basically to me, it's pretty close, but I give the edge to the Clippers, right?
Yeah, I would say.
Like, who's a better offensive team?
It's a weird sort of question.
The Clippers are up there.
The Clippers
are offensive rating.
Clippers are still probably a better offensive team, but who is the better? Who has the ability to go on streaks? I would say that if you want a momentum changer, if you're behind in the game, that's what I would say. If the Clippers get a decent lead and they get a decent lead in the game, I would not put the Warriors out of that game.
Yeah, so I think if the game slowed down, let's say, not that I think it would, but if it did, who do you think could score better in a half court? Because to me, it's the Clippers.
I would still
just because of Chris Paul,
I would say, but Chris Paul is so good. Yeah.
So I'm saying
it's got to be
it's got to
be the Clippers, but Steph Curry also.
Yes, but I'm saying that Clippers have bigs. That pick and roll game is always a threat. You have to guard the paint.
Yeah.
You cannot get those two guys going with the dunks.
No.
Chris Paul. So you got to guard them, but then you're picking your poison with the shooters. So, I'm saying the Clippers are better in the half court because they don't have a real low post threat on the Warriors because David Lee's more a face-up guy and Bogut's not that guy anymore.
Yeah, and maybe they do. Their front court isn't bad by some standards.
But they're not true low post threats.
And they're not going to stand up to guys like Jordan and Griffin. Those guys are just a terrible nightmare matchup for them, in my opinion.
And I also think the Clippers are a better defensive team than the Warriors.
Oh, they are. They are a considerably better defensive team.
Which is why I think the Clippers will win.
Which you choose. This is why the choice is the Clippers, because good D versus offense, right?
Well, then we can move on that one. We both agree. Last series, number 4 Rockets versus number 5 Blazers.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of Rockets.
Now, obviously, the Blazers can still drop and the Warriors can move up, but assuming that this is the series, yeah, I'm picking Rockets.
I like the Rockets to do. I feel like this could be a year. I've said this to you before. I feel like the Rockets could be a team to watch this year. And the Beverly injury hurts.
Yep.
That hurts them.
No question. No question.
Yeah, and it might be. You know, it's weird to put in context injuries to players like Beverly, because you wouldn't think that just out of nowhere that, you know, Patrick Beverly is a different, you know, like a difference-making sort of player. But within the system that they had going in place, you know, he was a vital necessary cog on their team.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Does it change their ceiling? It depends on, you know,
I think it does.
I
think it does.
I would think it does too, only because of how talented the Western Conference is.
Like, think about who would you want guarding Damian Lillard?
Yeah,
it's Beverly. There's no question.
Yeah.
I don't want Lin to
now
guard
it's going to be Jeremy Lin.
Now it's going to be Jeremy Lin. Unless Beverly can come back in the next, he said 3 weeks, right? And that was like a week ago.
Yeah.
Let's do a shot. He's just not going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. There's no question.
I still think that this is not that the Blazers are not a real. I feel like the Blazers are not the matchup to upset to beat the Rockets. That the Rockets are better than the Blazers. But at the same time, I feel like if he's not able to come back and be healthy, that might just be it. That they might just be a one and done, like one round.
All right. So like, who's got the better coach?
Who's got the better coach?
That's a tough one.
I don't really care for Kevin McHale. I don't think he's much of a coach.
Okay. So it's a wash, or you give it to Terry Stotts? Because to me, it's like a wash.
I'll say wash.
I'll say wash.
I'll say wash.
Okay.
I'd almost rather say Terry Stotts because I don't really like McHale. But
what is it about McHale's coaching style that you don't like?
It just doesn't seem like he has a good grasp on how to properly defensively he's all right. I think offensively maybe he struggles a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like he doesn't know how to properly the issues that Lowry had with him, I think were really telling in terms of how he kind of runs a team or how he expects the team to go. Right?
You know what? I disagree with you there because Lowry has said recently that he regrets how he handled that situation.
Right.
Right. And and he had problems with Casey. He had problems with whoever and Lionel Hollins. Like, these are all like decent coaches that.
Right.
Like, so at certain points, you got to look at Lowry, right?
Yeah.
I agree though. To me, they're too undisciplined offensively.
Yeah.
There's too much standing around. There's too much relying on Harden. Even when Dwight Howard's isolated, it's like, I don't know. There's not enough passing going on. There's a lot of driving and kicking, but sometimes the second and third and fourth passes, they don't happen. But I don't know. I think he's always been more of a player's coach, so I think there's some value in that. Players who like playing for their coach, who usually play better and play harder. To me, it's a wash. It's a wash to me. Point guard, assuming Beverly is healthy. Let's just assume Beverly is healthy.
Okay.
Okay. Because otherwise, we know it's Trailblazers. Who has the advantage?
I think. I don't know. I'd still kind of go. I'd still kind of lean.
I'll go Trailblazers.
Yeah, you'd go Trailblazers?
Because I like Mo Williams off their bench.
Yeah.
And CJ McCollum could do some stuff, right? He's their third guy. Mo Williams is still good player. He's just, he's just not a number 2 guy in Cleveland. Like, he shouldn't be that guy.
Yeah, he's a clear stated backup.
Yeah, he's a backup. He's a solid backup.
Yeah.
And they have CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
So I like his game. So I will give the edge to the Blazers.
Okay. I would probably say that the Blazers get that edge too.
No, Jeremy Lin can get hot though. That's the only thing. Jeremy Lin can get hot.
The only thing is that Jeremy Lin, but like if you're comparing who is capable of getting to that level, Lillard is also.
Yeah.
If Lillard gets hot, then Jeremy Lin is going to be left looking real
Right.
stupid.
But I think
Right.
that.
And there's a way better chance that happens, I think.
But I also think Beverly can really frustrate Lillard.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's what he loves, right?
Yeah.
Beverly loves.
But I think
and
we
they already
would-
have beef. They really don't like each other.
Yeah, but I think we can agree that probably the Blazers,
Blazers.
have the edge there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shooting guard. Yeah, it's the Rockets.
Yeah.
And I like, what's his name? Williams? No, Eric Matthews.
Eric Matthews.
Yeah, I really like him.
Wesley Matthews?
Wesley Matthews,
Wesley
right?
Matthews.
Not Eric Matthews.
Yeah.
Wesley something. I was like Wesley Johnson. No.
Wesley Matthews.
Yeah. Wesley
yeah.
Matthews. My bad.
Yeah.
I really like his game.
Yeah.
I think he's really solid, and I think he's. Yeah, that's the one guy I want him to guard Harden.
Yeah.
But it's the Rockets.
Yeah, of course.
Small forward.
Probably.
Closer than you think, eh?
Because
Because Batum is great, but so is Chandler Parsons.
I go Chandler Parsons,
Ooh.
which is kind of surprising, only because of the fact that I see you're right. There's a lot of similarities. Actually, I think that they're pretty close to being the type of
small forward
that you would want on
yeah.
a team, because they're good defensively.
They're long.
They're long. They're
Shoot
okay
threes.
offensively. The trouble comes when you start asking maybe too much of them offensively. That being said, I think for what they'll do, that Parsons is a better call.
You know what? I give the slight edge to Batum, but I think it's more or less a wash. For
Yeah,
me.
it's close. It's another it's close, but
okay. Power forward. It's got to be the
yeah,
Blazers.
it's the Blazers.
It's the Blazers. Center. It's got
to be the Rockets.
So, I think it favors. It's actually pretty close, but I think that the Blazers have been losing too much lately.
Yeah,
And I know LaMarcus was out a couple games, but I don't know. I think that the Rockets have won tougher games. Like they beat the Heat, for example.
well, but okay, but
they
here's,
beat the Thunder
but
recently.
Here's,
I mean,
here's
those
an interesting.
those
Here's
are
an
the,
interesting question for you, though.
right.
You on one team, you have the Rockets. Now the Rockets have on their team, arguably, would you say 2 top 20 players? Would you go as far as to say
yeah.
that? Would you say 2 top 15 players?
Yes.
Yes. So you now have a team with 2 top 15 players. Now, how many other teams in the league have 2 top 15 players?
That's true.
How many other teams? 2?
Is Wade a top 15 or Bosh a top 15?
Interesting question. Okay, so then 1?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, maybe you say the Clippers. You could probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Clippers.
You could probably say the
how-
Clippers
how
as
I forget
well.
about them. The Clippers. I'm trying to think. I would only say okay, for argument's sake, the Heat, the Thunder, the Clippers.
Remember as well, these
Trying
are
to think.
top 15 players. So when you're saying these 2 guys, you're excluding somebody else. That you're excluding Kevin Love. That you're
Right.
excluding,
right.
a Paul George.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but basically the point is that the Rockets have 2 top 15 players. I would say that. At the very least, they have 1 top 15 player and 1 top 20 player, depending on where you put Dwight, right?
Yeah.
I would say Harden, in terms of actual, overall skill, has ascended Dwight this season. You'd agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what does that say about the Rockets? That they've got 2 top 15 players, and yet in a series against the Blazers, a team with really not a lot of heralded players, not a lot of solid, amazing, guaranteed.
Well, here's the thing: is Damian Lillard a top 15 player?
No,
No, but he has potential to be.
maybe
Because I know LaMarcus is a top 15 player.
top 15 player. I don't know. I don't know.
I
about
say
that.
he is. Really?
I would not say LaMarcus Aldridge is amongst the top 15 players in the
Wow.
league. You would say that LaMarcus
Yeah,
Aldridge is?
I had a debate with my friend. He was saying he was a top 10 player, and
We'll have to
somewhat agreed.
we'll have to make a list.
Well,
We'll have to make a list at
here's the
some point.
thing. How great is Dwight Howard now?
That's the question.
How great is Kevin Love that he's never made the playoffs?
Right.
Right? LaMarcus made it a couple times.
Yeah.
And there's no question this year he beginning, he was really, really good.
Great.
The only thing that slowed him down was that injury.
Yeah.
He's averaging like 25 and like 24 and like 12 or 11. There aren't that many power forwards getting those numbers.
No, definitely not.
There
And
aren't that many.
I am a LaMarcus Aldridge fan. You know this. And
Yeah.
around the time, I was
We
saying
knew he
that-
should have been drafted instead of Bargnani. We all
Yeah.
know that.
I said that his numbers would be comparable to Bosch very, very shortly.
Yeah.
And they ended up being that way.
Okay, so let's say LaMarcus, is he okay, so I don't think he's better than Curry, I don't think he's better than Harden and Westbrook, but like, is he better than Wade? Yeah. Is he better than Bosch? Yeah. Is he better than, like, who else is in the fringe top 10? Is he better than Damian? Yes. Is he better than like Klay Thompson? Yes. Is he better than, I'm trying to think of second best players on a lot of teams,
Right.
or best players on a lot of teams. Is he better than anyone on the Raptors? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he better than anyone on the Wizards? I say yes.
Yeah.
Is he better than anyone on the Nets? I say yes. I say yes. You know, that's, potentially yes. Maybe Darren Williams should be better, but
Okay.
you can't live in a potential
Of
world,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Is he better than anyone on the Pacers? Debatable.
He's not. I wouldn't say. Would you rather? I'd rather have George than LaMarcus Aldridge, probably.
Probably in a nutshell, but I don't know. I mean, it's debatable.
All right.
It's debatable. I
right.
think he's up there.
Like I said, we should make a list.
To me, he's the top 10 player.
Okay.
Maybe he's 9 or 10 or 8 on that list, but he's in the he's for sure in the top 15.
Okay.
In my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that. Sorry, I just thought about the Trailblazers having 2 guys in the top 15. Potentially yes.
Okay.
Potentially yes.
Fair enough.
So what does it say about the Rockets? But here's the thing. To me, I think the Rockets have underrated role players.
Yeah.
I think Garcia's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think Caspi's pretty solid off the bench. I think Asik is the best backup center.
Yep.
That cannot hurt.
Nope.
I mean, Beverly Lynn combination was solid, and Parsons. I like Parsons a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just those 2 guys.
Right.
And then Terrence Jones has been pretty
Terrence
good.
Jones has been good.
Mata Yunus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They have a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
So I think that moving forward, apparently Dwight's still not 100% healthy yet, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he's happy. He's happy where he is. So I think that really helps. Moving forward, can they win a championship? They need another piece. They really need another piece.
Okay.
Or another coach. Or Harden's got to go really up. Like, his growth has got to be... He's got to be a true superstar.
I mean, let's.
I don't think he's a true superstar yet.
If you're willing to put him within the the top 10 best players in the league, and I
Harden
think you
was
and I
potentially
would
top
agree,
5. Potentially top 5.
then he should be able to do that, though. He should be able to have an on switch and just say, "I got this."
Well, to
You
me,
know?
there are 2 really, really true superstars.
Yeah, of course.
And a potential third in Chris Paul,
Okay.
right? After that, nobody's a true superstar, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right.
So for Harden to get there is tough.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be
really
tough,
tough.
but that's what the playoffs do, right?
Yeah.
In theory,
Yeah.
that's how you make a star.
Yeah.
If Harden's able to play like crazy and is able to get the Rockets very far, then that says something about how talented he is. It also says something about the decision-making process of the Thunder, which we spoke about, right?
Exactly.
So,
Okay, so let's just wrap this up a little. Who do you think is, first of all, the favorite to win the championship? And second of all, who do you think is the surprise dark horse team of the playoffs? So we're going to assume the dark horse team would be nobody with home court advantage, or none
okay,
of the top.
we'll say anybody on the lower. We'll say dark
Yeah,
half
5,
has to be considered lower.
Yeah, 5 to
And
8.
if we're talking about that, then I think that the team that we might need to put into this question, I would say, would probably be the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
I mean, because of the fact that you don't know what they have, so many stars on their team that are capable and have done things in the past. You just don't know what they're going to give you this year, right? I will say that if they're not able to do much this year, I think that will be very, very telling in terms of how far they can go anywhere in the immediate future, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but that would be my dark horse pick for the playoffs, would be the Nets. Because from what we're discussing, they can potentially win around maybe 2,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, you took my pick.
Yeah, you were gonna take the
yeah.
Nuts as well. Okay.
But I'm trying to think of just for the sake to pick somebody else. Maybe the Warriors as a 6th seed
yeah,
is a dark horse.
it could be just as much. I mean, yeah, I would consider even at how tight that series is going to be, I would consider it still an upside if the Warriors were able to beat the Clippers.
Okay.
Were able to go more than especially able to go more than one round. That'd be unbelievable.
It would be. All right. So, who's coming out of the East and who's coming out of the West, and who wins it all?
I would still probably say the Heat as long as they can maintain, as long as they can stay
Healthy.
Relatively healthy, and realistically, they missed Bosch for games last playoffs, like last year's playoffs. That they've missed Wade before. It comes down to how much LeBron is able to push himself in this team. I think, because clearly we've been able to see them do it before. They have a really similar team to the ones that they've brought there previously. So, I think now we're seeing that the Pacers might not be the matchup for them that everybody thought that they might be.
Oh, they're
Though I'd
clearly
still,
not.
but there's a reason why they're 7-game series, right? So,
But the thing is, they were talking about number 1 seed the whole year, and then now
Yeah.
they don't have it, and
Yeah.
they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get it.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'm picking Heat. Don't even have to go into an explanation why. It's just
Yeah.
LeBron James and their system, their defensive, their better chemistry. The Pacers are collapsing to me. They're collapsing.
okay.
In the West, who are you picking?
The West, I would have to pick, and it might sound a little bit boring, but I'm gonna probably go with the Spurs. I feel like until they really lose someone from that core, that they have just set up so well. The Popovich has a real cult-like thing going down in San Antonio, where they're able to get results from players that nobody would automatically think that.
Austin Day had like a 25-point game for them.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Austin Day,
Yep.
Nando DeColo. That was our return booty. But yeah, I mean, for a team as clearly limited athletically as they are,
Yeah.
they're there's no
Okay.
reason why I don't think that they can beat a team like the Thunder again, which is really sad.
This is what I'm going to say. I don't think they're going to beat the Thunder because they've lost every game to them this season.
Okay.
The latest game was the most telling game. I think the Spurs obviously didn't play up to their level, but they were dominated athletically, physically, and probably mentally. Obviously, to me, Popovich waved the white flag pretty much midway through the third quarter. It's like, okay, we see how this.
Yeah, he
game's
does
gonna
that
go.
during the regular
He'll
season,
do
so
that.
that's why it's kind of the regular
Right.
season's tough to gauge, right?
But I think if you can't win one game out of 4, I'm just saying, one game out of 4, if you got swept a season series, it's not. I don't know. It's not. I'm not feeling that confident over it. And the thing is, earlier I would have said, I think it's gonna be a 7-game series if those two meet, and I'm pretty sure those two will meet.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be a 7-game series, and the Spurs will be at home, right? Because they'll be the number 1 seed.
okay.
However, I just don't think. Again, the X factor is Russell Westbrook. They have nobody to guard him. He will make Tony Parker's life miserable in that way, right? And Tony Parker's really good basketball player. He's he's their best player. But can Ibaka match up with Duncan? Yeah. Can Perkins / Adams match up with their centers, Tiago Splitter and Boris Diaw or Bonner or Jeff Ayers or whatever? Yeah, somewhat. Because I
Okay.
don't think the Spurs centers are like amazing or anything, right? Small forward, closer than people think, but it's obviously Durant, right? It's
Yeah,
obviously Durant, but Kawhi can give him trouble.
Kawhi's a good defender.
Yeah, but it's Durant, right?
Yeah,
Shooting guard. I'll go Spurs.
Yeah, I'd go Spurs.
But point guard, the combo of Russell and Reggie Jackson versus Tony Parker and Patty Mills. I'm gonna go Thunder.
Alright. I mean, this is you're not.
However, the big another point would be the coaching in Popovich versus Brooks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so Like
And that's probably the biggest.
I really want the Spurs to win. I thought the Spurs would probably make the finals again. They
You
might even win this
You want
year.
the Spurs to win?
Yeah,
I do.
absolutely.
I do not want the Spurs to win.
I always
And
want
like.
the Spurs.
I like
want the Spurs to win last year. They should have won.
Yeah.
That was their championship doing it.
Interesting.
I wanted them to win last year because, well, I love Tim Duncan and
Yeah.
I love Popovich and I love all their guys.
Yeah.
You know, I want the Spurs to win every year. I
Yeah.
really like them.
Yeah.
And I think they represent what's great about basketball. They're not the most exciting team, but people don't know what they're watching. It's not about dunks,
Right.
not about threes. It's about playing as a team,
Mhm.
and they really do that. They really are so efficient.
Yeah.
They're so good on both sides of the floor. They're one of the top offensive teams, one of the top defensive teams. They have depth. They use everybody. None of their starters play more than 30 minutes.
You're making the case here for the Spurs. You picked the Thunder, man.
But this is why I'm picking the Thunder. They swept the season series.
Yeah.
Not that I think that the Thunder would ever sweep the Spurs, but I think they have the edge because they have athleticism,
Yeah.
where the Spurs do not.
Not at all, really.
Not at all. And the Thunder are a good defensive team.
Yeah.
And like I said, how does Russell match up with Tony Parker? Pretty good.
Pretty well.
How does Durant who matches up with Durant? Okay, Kawhi is pretty good. But I give the edge to Durant. And even if you take Durant out of the series, which I can't see happening, you still have to deal with Russell. And you have to deal with Reggie Jackson. Those are athletic guards. They struggle with that. Right? Because, like, you look at who they have as guards defensively. You know, is Patty Mills known for defense?
No.
No. Is Corey Joseph? Yeah, but he won't get that many
Yeah.
minutes, right? Probably. Is Marco Bellinelli known for defense?
No.
Ginobili? No. Danny Green? Yes.
Somewhat.
But is he? I guess he could match up with.
Yeah, he's
Jeremy Lamb.
athletic too.
He can match with Jeremy Lamb,
Yeah.
but it's not a huge advantage for the Spurs. So then you go down to power forward. Ibaka can match up with Duncan now. Duncan has got the intelligence and the IQ edge, but athletically, there's no question.
Athletically, there's no
Ibaka.
question. But
And Ibaka's a great defender.
athletically, though, Duncan's going to lose that battle a lot of times to a lot of different. It doesn't. He's a great player because of his
Right.
mind, his
Right.
IQ, right?
No, but I'm saying, like, I'm more comfortable with Blake Griffin guarding Duncan than Serge Ibaka guarding Duncan,
Okay.
right? Like, I worry for Duncan here because Serge is, like, got great timing,
Mm-hmm.
Center, it's kind of a wash,
Yeah.
you might give the Spurs the edge, but I don't know, right? Like,
Right.
how great is Thiago Splitter? I like him, but how great is he really?
Right.
How great is Jeff Ayers? How great is Matt Bonner?
I guess these guys, I just take them because I don't really give Kendrick Perkins a lot of credit, right?
Okay, fine.
But
It's not a huge advantage.
It's not a huge
Not
advantage.
a huge advantage.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's the Spurs.
I hope you're right.
You basically explained the whole rationale for me in
Right.
the beginning, and you were saying that you're picking the
But
Thunder.
no, I explained all the rationale,
Yeah.
and based off of all of
Everything
that, they
you
should
said.
win.
Yeah.
But I still think the Thunder will win because there's Durant and there's Russell,
Yeah.
and there's all their athleticism.
Okay.
Right now, this was like, remember when the Thunder went to the finals and they beat the Spurs, right? When
Yes.
the Spurs were pretty much undefeated in the whole playoffs. I
Yeah.
think they swept the Clippers. They swept
were
everybody.
looking great
right?
that year, I remember.
They were amazing. They were up 2-0, right, against the Thunder. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And they lost the next 4, and that's because their athleticism took over, their defense took over, and James Harden, Ginobili,
Yeah. Ginobili.
And now obviously Harden's gone, so I thought, okay, they're not beating the Spurs no more. But like Reggie Jackson, I like what he's seen. Like every regular season game, like I've watched him. It's the same thing. It's a close game, and then Russell Westbrook decides to really turn it on. Kevin Durant decides to really turn it on. Their defense athletically turns it on, and the Spurs turn it over. The Spurs cannot win turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And they're usually so great about not turning it over. But I'll give Scott Brooks credit for it. He's a great defensive coach, in my opinion.
I don't know if I'd say great, but he's all right. He's okay.
Okay, I'd say he's better than okay.
All right, fair
okay,
enough.
we'll say he's better than okay.
All right.
I think. How do you explain the Thunder losing or winning all 4 games against the Spurs this year?
I can only chalk it up to the Spurs being nutty in the regular season and them not ever really being 100% sure of what I'm getting from
But
the
they
Spurs
beat the
in
Heat
regular
twice.
season.
They
Yeah,
beat
I know.
everybody. They destroyed the Pacers.
I just
obviously.
don't know. Like, even the Heat, I don't
They
put
beat the
stock-
Clippers.
I
They
don't-
beat the Warriors.
I
The
do
Rockets. They beat everybody.
I
but
do
not
not
the Thunder.
put stock in what the Spurs do in the regular season.
Even
It-
losing
it-
0-4?
What?
Even losing 0-4?
Yeah. You know,
Okay,
it seems to me that they have a level. You can make this claim about certain teams. You know, you can say, oh, you know, the Nets are one team that's primed to turn it up. Well, what are you basing that on? Well, Darren Williams has been to the playoffs, and Joe Johnson's been to the playoffs, and the Pierce and Garnett have championship pedigree. That, you know, they've done that. You know, they've never done it all together on the same team, working together with, you know, Jason Kidd as their coach. And I think that's the biggest advantage that the Spurs have, is that they've got their core still together. Their core knows how to win. They've added some athletic pieces to this core, and I think that ultimately the changes and tweaks that they've made are good enough to get them at least to where they were last year, which is in the finals against the Heat.
Okay. I just think that, for me, I think the Spurs should make it to the finals. They should, and they probably even should win it, just because they're such a complete team.
Yeah.
But every time I saw them play the Thunder, I'm worried. I'm just like, this shouldn't happen. You can't lose all four games to them in a season.
Yeah.
And I worry about how much Ginobili will hold up, how much Duncan will hold up, how much Parker will hold up. Because ultimately, those three guys, not Duncan, but for sure Ginobili was a disaster in the finals outside of 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
And Parker, I don't know if he got hurt or he got tired or the combination of the two, wasn't the same guy in game 6 and 7. So I worry about that.
Yeah.
Whereas guys like Russell, obviously he's got some injury history, but he's young legs, right? Durant, still young legs. Reggie Jackson, young legs. Jeremy Lamb, young legs. They still have some vets. They have Derek Fisher there.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll hit a .4 second again against the Spurs. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Fisher seems to hit big shots all the time. He hit them against the Raptors when the Thunder came back. I don't know. You're right. Logically speaking, it should be the Spurs. But you know how you say you don't put too much stock on what they do in the regular season?
Yeah.
That works the other way. Because they've won 60 games, you can't put too much stock in those 60 games, right?
Yeah.
Either good or bad.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's more so like I've seen them do something similar before. And,
right.
And not, you know, you've seen the Spurs come out, dominate in the regular season, and then not win championships. And you've seen them come out, dominate in the regular season, and then win championships.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so who are we picking You're picking the Spurs. I'm picking Thunder.
Okay.
Who are we picking to win the championship?
I will be. I don't want to sound like I'm just being, you know, being, you know, picking the opposite on purpose by not wanting to pick the Heat and saying that I believe that the Spurs can potentially beat the Heat this year.
Okay.
But I realistically believe that the Spurs can beat the Heat this year.
And why do you think that?
More like going back to trying not to put so much stock in what I've seen in the regular season, and trying not to say that we've really seen the Heat look, for the first time in their, you know, in their convergence, kind of look disjointed. Really.
Okay.
But I feel like there's a lot of outside influences this time around. I feel like the uncertainty of the future of the Heatles.
Boy, that's a big storyline.
It's a big storyline, and it's not something. I mean, it's something that they've talked about, but it's not something that's been the kind of focused storyline that you would maybe think it would be.
Okay, so you think distractions, probably?
I feel like this is going to be...
Or do you think it's like fatigue or all of that?
I think that it's a combination. I really do.
Do you think it's because maybe a regression in Wade or Bosh or any of their core?
It's not. It's
maybe
more
LeBron getting exhausted.
I guess it could be any number of those things. It could be the slow regression of Wade. Okay. It could be the fact that Bosh is now kind of like, well, I've played this role before. What really is my role? You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
And
so you're picking...
And LeBron in general, I like, it wouldn't surprise me to hear that LeBron, you know, had gotten complacent with, you know, the team. That he is the type of player that needs to go and mix things up after a while. Okay. And that he sees that, well...
So you think that will affect his, like, playoff performance?
Well, it could. I'm not saying that it
will.
But
okay,
I'm saying that these are factors that weren't factors last year when the Heat played the Spurs.
Okay.
And I think that will be the difference maker. So I want to say that the Spurs will win in 7 games, like they should have won in probably 6 games last year.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say the Spurs in 7 games.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, or
No.
why the Spurs win, or is it all on the Heat side, or is it what the Spurs do?
I know what the Spurs are bringing to the table.
Okay, all right, no
And
surprises.
that's what makes them such a safe, steady, reliable sort of pick.
Okay, yeah.
I just don't know what the Heat. I'm pretty sure of what the Heat is going to bring to the table.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. And we're saying 7 games, so realistically,
It's
we're
really
saying
close.
that it's a 1-game playoff between
It's really
the
close.
Heat and
It's
the
like maybe
Spurs.
down to a quarter.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who
Okay.
even knows?
I'm gonna.
Right?
Okay, so I hear your point. I'm saying whoever goes to the finals.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm picking Heat.
You're
Regardless.
picking Heat regardless. Okay.
I think that the time and time again, all things being relatively equal, like I think Spoelstra's a good coach.
Okay.
I think it's shown time and time again before the big three, you're still making the playoffs, and those teams are not good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terrell Wright is your second or third best player.
That's true.
You
Rabble,
know,
rabble, rabble. Eastern Conference, rabble, rabble.
Yeah. Like Beasley's your second best player. Yeah, like.
Right.
Okay, so Spurs, Heat. In terms of matchups, you talk of point guards. Okay, Spurs.
You're saying Thunder and it's Thunder and.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about what you were saying.
Yeah.
Either is Spurs or Thunder.
Yeah.
I think the Heat, what they do best, is really making adjustments,
Yeah.
and they have the athleticism to match the Thunder, and they have the athleticism to beat the Spurs.
Mhm.
Spurs have more, probably better plays, more 5-man units working together, but the Heat have always been pretty good, like not relying on their big three all the time. They rely on LeBron, but they don't. You can't say that they rely on Dwayne Wade. You can't say that they rely on Chris Bosh. I mean, there are games where Chris Bosh disappears. Wade has missed 20-something games this year, and they still are like the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive.
Definitely.
So this is what I'll say. Time and time again, all things being relatively equal, the best player wins out. So that's LeBron. Okay? I think that Wade plays possum. And I saw this the other day. Do you know what Wade's averages this year are in the games that he's played?
What?
He's averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 50% shooting.
That's awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So it showed, okay, maybe it's not reliable to play game in and game out. But in the playoffs, there are no back-to-backs.
But the best player wins out. Kevin Durant, in your opinion, has been the best player this year, though.
He's the MVP. Doesn't mean I think he's better than LeBron.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
All
He's
right.
had the better year. He's more value. It's hard to argue who's more valuable, but I go by. We've seen what the Heat have done without Wade for a couple years. We have not seen what the Thunder can do without Russell Westbrook. Especially last year, Durant lost 4 games in a row to the Grizzlies.
I mean,
Who
he
got
was,
swept.
he was
And
without Westbrook for points this year. He looked pretty.
Yeah,
fucking
that's why he
awesome
gets the
this year.
MVP, and
Yeah.
they have a better record than the Heat because the Heat last year won 27 games in a row.
Yeah.
So LeBron wins MVP.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Best player, LeBron. Even if, let's say, Kevin Durant outplays LeBron, right? Let's just say, for example,
Yeah.
I think Dwayne Wade plays possum, and I think he has capabilities of still putting up those 30-point games. Remember last year, he did that. He single-handedly won the game for the Spurs. LeBron sat for a very crucial part of the game. In game, I don't know, 5, I want to say, against the Spurs in the finals. Dwayne Wade, when he plays, is not the Dwayne Wade of old, but still really solid.
Yeah.
21, 5, and
21,
5.
5, and 5.
Is better than
Says he's
DeRozan's doing.
Says he's doing something right.
Better doing what DeRozan's doing. And yes, a lot of that is because of the system and the familiarity, but can he do it? He can. There's no one else doing 21, 5, and 5 outside of him and LeBron.
Yeah.
Bosh has hit game winners. He's developed that 3-point shot, right? He's a guy that, like late in games, without Wade, he's the guy taking the shot. It's not LeBron. LeBron's creating it, but Bosh is making the shot.
Yeah.
So, I think people forget how good Bosh can be. And I go down the line. Eventually, Beasley's going to show something, right? I think there's going to be one game where he.
I refuse
Right?
to wait on Michael Beasley for
But
even
you
a
don't
second
think
longer.
even one game, somewhere, a quarter, 2-3 minute
I
stretch.
am unwilling to go as far as say that Michael Beasley can be a difference maker. That's
Okay.
what I would say.
Fine. But what about what do you think of the Chalmers Cole? I think they're solid.
I
think they're solid.
I think that they're okay having the team that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they serve their role well.
But my point is, they're a pretty complete team in terms of because they can play both sides of the court,
Right.
right? Chalmers is nothing special, but he's solid.
Yeah, he can.
He's
He
solid.
can contain Russell Westbrook.
No, but he can make shots,
Okay.
and he won't be Jose Calderon on defense. You know.
Okay.
Same with Norris Cole. Like, they've won championships with those two guys,
Mhm.
right?
Proven.
Ray Allen. I'm just saying, you know that guy's gonna be a difference maker.
Of course.
Somewhere, someplace, he can miss 20 shots in a row. He
Right.
can make the one shot that matters.
So how does that series go? The Thunder and Heat series.
I think that goes 7 games.
7 games,
I
and the
go
Heat
7
win it
games.
in 7 games.
Yeah. My only reason, because it's that Russell Westbrook thing
Mhm.
that comes up. Even if they have home court advantage, I just don't know. Late in games, I trust the Heat to execute better than the Thunder.
Okay.
Like, for example, the Heat have never lost to the Raptors since the Big 3 form. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
They have never lost to the Raptors. The Thunder have lost to us.
Yeah.
And that one game they should have lost when Durant hit the game winner. They should have lost
They
that.
should have lost that
The
game.
Heat would never have been in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Because I've never seen them.
Okay.
I think that the Thunder, I don't trust them as much in late game execution unless you just give the ball to Durant. If you
Mhm.
give the ball to Durant, I'm cool with it.
Right.
But if Russell Westbrook has the ball with a minute left and they're down 3 points, he's taking the pull-up 3.
Yep.
I don't trust it. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
trust the Heat's execution more. I think the Heat are better defensive team. That also matters. So it goes back to everything being relatively equal. Who's the better coach? I think Spoelstra's the better coach. Who's the better player? Let's say it's a wash, right? They're close enough where you could say it's somewhat of a wash. So you go down to the second best player, Westbrook versus Wade. Both have somewhat health issues. Wade more so, in my opinion, but Wade's also smarter than Russell. I would give the edge to Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Okay, third best player, Ibaka Bosch.
I mean,
I don't know, but I think Bosch has the ability to hit game winners, so that's a big game
and
changer.
Ibaka can't. Yeah.
Right? Ibaka hasn't hit a single game winner,
No, he's not a reliable
but
offensive player. at all.
Ibaka can really block shots.
He can
late
cover
in
him
game.
defensively.
So that's a game winning. So let's say that's a wash.
Yeah.
So you're going pretty much the
You're,
top
you're,
3.
you're washing a lot here, man. This is
So listen.
Yeah,
So now it's the role players. Now you go to the Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb. And I like Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
But what's he going to do in the finals versus Chalmers? What is Reggie Jackson going to do in the finals versus even a Norris Cole, right? I know what Derek Fisher is going to give us, right?
Yeah.
But Jeremy Lamb, more or less a mystery versus anybody coming off the bench for the Heat,
okay.
right? Small forward, like Andre Robertson, let's say. What is he going to give you versus, let even say Rashard Lewis or Jermaine Jones or
Battier.
Michael Beasley or
Battier,
Battier,
yeah.
right? What is who's the backup for? Collison. Yeah, Collison would be fine.
Yeah.
But you can wash him with Udonis Haslem. So now you get to centers.
Birdman.
Birdman, Oden versus Adams and Perkins. Maybe the Heat have the edge.
It's a nightmare.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's close enough, but I think to me, coaching is probably the biggest difference you can
Okay.
look at.
Yeah.
Coaching. And that that matters. So, and plus I still think until Durant's won it, I'm not willing to say he's better than LeBron.
Okay.
Can you say he's better in late game situations? I think most people will say that. I will say that LeBron, just because he doesn't take the shot, doesn't mean he's not very effective with 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only reason why I give Durant the edge is free throws. I think LeBron hasn't shown he'll make 2 out of 2 every time.
Yeah.
Whereas
But Durant
Durant
has.
But Durant hasn't won a championship yet.
Yep.
So. Anyways, I'm going with the Heat. It's until somebody loses to them. They lose to somebody beats them.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, now there's arguments for the Thunder. First of all, the Heat. No team has went to 4 finals in a row. I think that's not a coincidence.
Nope.
I think that LeBron is definitely tired out. I think he's exhausted, and I think it's shown. Because I don't know if people really talk about it because it took him. He had a lot of bad games after 61 points.
Yeah.
So I think his free throw is what makes me worry most. His
Okay.
free throws, and also last year he had 2 major turnovers that should have
Major.
been that led to the 5-point lead for the Spurs.
Yeah.
And they missed they went one of the two consecutive trips, and Ray Allen saved his legacy. You could argue that. I think so.
Yeah.
If Ray Allen doesn't hit that shot, what are we saying?
Spurs will probably win the championship.
Well, the Spurs, I think they definitely win the championship. But what are we saying about LeBron? Oh, he choked again. He choked again. He had 2 turnovers. He did it against the Pacers too. I don't even remember that. Game 6?
No, I don't.
He had 2 major turnovers there. And that's why the Pacers won Game 6.
Yeah.
Now, they blew out the Pacers in Game 7, and obviously LeBron has like 37 in Game 7 against the Spurs, hit the game-winning shot because Tim Duncan missed the little bunny and the tap, and which I couldn't believe.
Lift, no jump at all on
but
Timmy
like
D.
he had Batty on him, and that was like luck. That was like the exhaustion maybe coming through.
Yeah.
Because Tim Duncan makes that with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
Both hands, wrong foot, doesn't matter. He makes that all the time. So those are the arguments for the Thunder. And plus, if we believe Kevin Durant as great as he is, 10-point leads are not safe with him.
No.
It's not safe with him because you can't foul him. He will make his free throws. He's pure from the line. He's pure shooting off the dribble. He's stronger than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting, but I'm picking the Heat.
All right.
I'm going with what I know versus what I don't because I just think that Russell Westbrook, he's, the bad Russell is gonna come out.
Hey man, he's the guy on your team.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey man, I trade everybody on our team for him. If you could trade Lowry and DeRozan for him, wouldn't you do it? Yeah, I probably would, assuming he's healthy.
Yeah.
Which is the big.
I would ideally like to trade one out of those two, and then be able to get Russell Westbrook back. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything to add?
No, other than I hope that my bias against the Heat didn't make me pick against them, but I just
so you're biased against the Heat and biased against the Spurs. You don't want either of those teams to win, right?
No, I actually do. I don't mind the Spurs. I traditionally have like David Robinson was one of my favorite players growing up. I really like the Spurs. I just would like, ultimately, I'm a fan of change. I would like there to be a wild card to come in there, even if it were the Thunder, to come in there and beat the Heat or to make some kind of change.
But can you say they're a wild card, though? Like, the Clippers are more of a wild card than the Thunder, right?
Okay, I mean, yeah, that goes. I'm really advocating for just anybody winning the championship,
but the Heat.
Than the Heat. I mean, even the one year that the Mavericks were able to win.
That was awesome.
It felt good, and I think that it does a lot. I like seeing turnaround. I like seeing other teams in the finals, especially because I'm not torn to. I don't have allegiances to either one of these teams really. So, yeah, I hope the Heat lose.
Okay, all right. I guess we can end it there. All right. It's good. It's good talk.
Yeah.
All right. Next time.